Alrighty, well, thank you so much for joining. My name is Amanda Webb, and I started my company, Gravity Real Estate Marketing, a little over a year ago. Today, I'm kind of going to break down what I've been doing with real estate agents on how to help them incorporate content marketing into their online portion of their business. We know that so often now, everyone likes to go out and kind of research who they're going to be working with, and they don't just it's not as common for people to just automatically jump on and use someone right away just because they referred to them. They kind of do a little bit of background work first. So that's kind of how my training came about. So just a little bit about me. Oh, of course, there we go. So I was born and raised down here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. I am a graduate of Texas A&M University Commerce out in East Texas. I graduated from there in 2010 with a double bachelor's degree in journalism and sociology. I got my start in real estate marketing in 2015 with Coldwell Banker here in DFW. And I got my license with them in 2016. So while I was with Coldwell Banker, I had the opportunity to go out and train agents on how to use their tools and how to kind of build up their website, how to set up campaigns. And time again, I had people asking me if they could just pay me to do it for them. They would ask, hey, can you do this for me under the table? Because I don't have time to do this. And not knowing if I would lose my job, I didn't take the chance, but decided to branch out and start my own business for that reason. I realized that a lot of agents, you're busy and you have all these ideas, but you're not quite sure on how to implement them. And or you just don't have time to implement them. So that's kind of how my whole business came about. So let's kind of get down into the training. We know as people who work with, kind of a business to person type relationship, sales is not about selling anymore, but it's about building trust and educating people. So as you're building out the content that you're putting out online, whether it's on social media, your website, or your email campaigns, you have to make sure that you're sharing information that offers value to keep people coming back time and time again to use you. When it comes to marketing, it's not just about that instant lead generation. It's also about creating a reputation and a brand. We know that someone doesn't become your best friend overnight. You develop a relationship with them and you get to know them as a person, and that person, offers value to you in some way and brings value into your life. So that's how you have to look at your personal brand as well as a real estate agent. If you get these leads, and whether you're doing online lead generation or people are referring others to you, you have to kind of set yourself up to create a relationship with that person right off, because if they're not ready to buy right at that moment, you want to make sure that you're staying top of mind with them. As of July of 2019, there were over 1.3 million real estate agents in the country. And while I realize not all of them are actively buying and selling, what it does tell us is that everybody knows someone in real estate, whether it's directly or indirectly. So where I see a lot of agents kind of start to struggle is standing out. How do you stand out when there's so many other real estate agents that you're competing against? What are you doing to showcase that you're the best agent to work with them and match their needs? And you can do that through content marketing. So with the content marketing, that's going to include, what you're putting out on your social media, what you have on your website, your email marketing, or even sometimes if you're putting out brochures and stuff, depending on how you run your business. So you want to make sure that your content marketing is bringing value to the people that you're sharing it with. So to get started, you have to set up a little bit of framework to make sure that you have all of your ducks in a row. So when people do start turning to you, everything, looks cohesive and you're putting that best foot forward. And the first way to do that is by having a customized website with all of your information on there. When you don't take the time to customize the content on your website, then you may not be meeting the needs of your ideal client. By taking the time to write customized content for your website, you're also allowing yourself to move up in the rankings online with Google. So you really want to kind of take the time and think about what information you want to have on there, and put yourself in whoever your ideal client is, put yourself in their shoes. What are they going to be looking for, and how can you provide that information? And while it may seem a little silly, you want to make sure that you have the process of buying and selling on there somewhere, whether that's broken down on a page, or you give them a little bit of information and then they can opt in to get more information by having a full-on guide that they can download. But I can tell you, there have been many times I've gone to an agent's website and it doesn't have anything about the process of how to buy or sell a home on there. It just gives them the opportunity to capture the lead. When people are looking for information, make sure you have it there. Make sure you include information about the communities and the areas that you service. Not only are you the real estate expert, but you're also the community expert. And so you want to make sure that you have information on your website that shows that. One thing that I always encourage doing is, if you live in an area that has a lot of very notable neighborhoods, go ahead and have some of those neighborhood searches set up for people to just click and bring up those homes. As an example, I'm here in the far North Dallas area of Carrollton. And we have a very large subdivision called Castle Hills. So any agent that works in this area, I always recommend, having some of those big neighborhoods ready to go where people can just click and see what's available. And then obviously testimonials. If you're not getting testimonials, I highly encourage you to start doing that, because people want to know what it's like to work with you. The benefits of having a really great website is, when someone goes there and they have questions, they're going to be able to find those answers. So if you have a perfectly optimized website, all their questions are going to be answered before they even have to ask them. Here's what I've learned in my 5 years of working in real estate marketing. I have learned that when someone wants to go look at houses, they're going to go to those big name websites like Zillow and Trulia. But when they're looking for information, they're going to turn to a real estate agent. So you want to make sure that you're the agent that's giving them the information that they're looking for. I have noticed that there are some agents out there that have a really great website and it has a lot of great information on there, but they're not being found because they don't have the right keywords on there. By knowing which keywords are being used in your area and taking the time to actually do a little bit of research, you can slowly start moving yourself up in the search results on Google and other search engines. But I will put a little asterisk there and say it does take time. And so, don't expect to go in and make all these updates to your website and then automatically think you're going to be on that first page within a week. It doesn't quite work that way, as much as we all would like it to. A great way to get started to know if your website is even optimized at all is by using an SEO analyzer. Neil Patel is a very well-known search engine marketer that I follow, and I use his SEO analyzer quite often when I'm helping agents with their websites, because it gives me a starting point of what is optimized on their website, if anything, if they're ranking at all. It allows me to kind of get started knowing what keywords we should focus on as well. So it gives me a starting point. So if that's something that you're interested in, I definitely recommend checking out his analyzer. Here's where I see a lot of agents start to struggle when they try to do that themselves. One, they don't understand what SEO is, and they don't know how to start about researching for their keywords. If they do know what SEO is, then they're not sure of everywhere it needs to be included. So you want to make sure that you have your keywords in several places, and not just on the content of your website, but in the alt tags of your images, in the meta descriptions. You want to make sure that you have all of your right title tags on there as well. Or I see keyword stuffing happen quite often. So that's where you don't let the keywords flow in your writing naturally. So when you're writing, you want to make sure that you are naturally dropping in those keywords and not using them every other sentence. when Google or any other search engine sees this, they realize it and they ding you. So as a rule of thumb, once you know what keyword you want to rank for, you want to drop it in probably once every 100 to 200 words. Blogging. So I'm a very big proponent of blogging for several reasons. So for those who don't know, and I've actually had this question before more often than you would think, but if you don't know what a blog is, blogs are those little articles that you can add to your website, almost kind of like a news section. I always recommend them being between 500 to 1,000 words in length. Anything less than 500 is not likely, it may not get picked up by Google. If you're going to go less than 500, make sure you're at least hitting about 350, because you'll actually get dinged if there's too low of a word count on there. Anytime you can get it up to 1,000 words or more, the better, because it gives you the opportunity to add in those keywords a little bit more often, and it gives you the opportunity to add in a few more header tags. But I typically, depending on the topic, I try to get any closer to about 800 to 1,000 words, but sometimes, it's just hard to get up that high, and I understand. As you're planning out the content for your blogs, make sure you're doing a mixture of real estate and local information. Because if you stop and think about it, if you were to look at everybody in your sphere, at any given time, only about 5 to 10% may be looking at entering the real estate market. So you want to make sure you're providing value and staying top of mind with them when they're not in the market. And a great way to do that is by providing local information. And I'm going to go into that a little bit more in depth here in a few minutes. Another great thing about blogging is it gives you that additional SEO. So you could actually rank for different keywords depending on the blog. As an example, I have an agent that I work with in Possum Kingdom, which is out in West Texas. And we put all of the upcoming events on her website and the benefits of going to the events. And she's actually ranked for several of those events out there. So people know that if they need information about an upcoming party or parade that's going on out in that area, they can turn to her because she'll have all the information. I also love being able to take a piece of content and reuse it. And I'm going to show you a little bit more in depth how you can do this in a few minutes as well. But you can take a blog and use it as a weekly newsletter and as social media postings. And the way that you can do that is you write it and you put it on your website. You pull out a few keywords, a few key points out of the blog, pair it with an image and upload it, and there's a social media. Or you can write out, a few sentences and link it back to your blog and send it out to your sphere. And that's how you can make sure that you're hitting your database once a week, but it's not necessarily asking for referrals. So the big 3 things that you want to focus on as you're building out your content is going to be your community expertise, making sure that you're educating, and then your promotional or business content. When it comes to sharing business content, whether that's listings, open houses, or asking for referrals, you want to keep that to about 20, maybe 25% of what you're posting. So to break this down a tiny bit more, here are some ways that you can showcase your community expertise. Local businesses. You're a small business owner yourself. Why not showcase other local small businesses in your area, whether that's through your blogs, social media posts. I have an agent that works in the East Dallas area, and she goes to local breweries and coffee houses and showcases them every week. She does a video and tags them in it and just shares, what her favorite drink or food is there. So that may be something that you can do as well. Just get out there in the community and really start networking with other people. Events and things to do. So, a lot of communities have area events that they do, but it doesn't necessarily have to be like a big event. It could be, whether it's a farmer's market or, like I said, I live here in the Carrollton area, and every year they do a big Texas Independence Day gathering down on the square. But you can also do random things to do. So I know when I was doing some research for a client, I had found out that they had this huge zip lining course in the middle of the city that he worked in. And I added that information in there and I sent it to him. He goes, I didn't even know that we had this. it's just there in the middle of his city. So, just finding those hidden gems that gives you something to go do on the weekends. And then real estate stats. So if you're not, sharing the quick market reports every month, I encourage you to start doing that. But in my opinion, or just my experience, I've noticed that's a little bit easier to share just some of the quick information and just kind of put out, maybe the days on market or the average sell price. And depending on what your community is, you may have different rules you have to follow. Here in Texas, you're not allowed to put what a house sold for. So you can put the list price out there, but you can actually put the sale price. But instead of putting out a full report that is a bunch of, graphs and month over year information, give them the opportunity to reach out to you to get a more detailed report, but just put that quick information out there and to kind of entice their, get them kind of, again, and just get them enticed to contact you, I guess. So I've been working with Janet here for just a little bit. I love getting to work with agents and kind of take their thoughts and what they have, planned for their marketing and help them bring it to life. I understand that as an agent, a lot of you are busy and it can be hard to, really start implementing a bunch of different things. So if you're looking for someone that can help you start implementing, I'd love to talk with you. Okay, educating your followers. So, you're the expert when it comes to real estate. So how can you educate your followers? One way is just general real estate information. What's going on in the market? Is it a buyer's market, a seller's market? What are some tips and tricks for getting into real estate? Financial information. What are the mortgage rates doing? How do they file for a homestead exemption? If you work with a lot of first-time home buyers, what are some grants or down payment assistance programs that they could apply for? And then just general home ownership information, whether that is, design tips or how to create great curb appeal, what renovations are going to bring in the most return on investment. So down here in Dallas back in October, we had a huge storm come through that had tornadoes. So I had several agents, they went out and videoed their neighborhoods and talked about, okay, well, this is what you need to do to file your claim, and actually brought on maybe a insurance provider that they worked with, and they talked with different contractors. So their followers had all their information or had all the information they would need to, how to file their claim, how to find a good contractor, and really just help them before they found themselves, in a bad situation. Because we all know when there's storms coming through, there's a lot of those fly by the night contractors that show up. So, they did what they needed to do to make sure that their email list, their database, their sphere, they were all protected. And that's something that I helped Sabrina with. I've been working with Sabrina for about 2.5 years, and we email her list every week, every other week, depending on what our blog posts are. And we keep her in front of her clientele regularly. And by doing this, she has actually now become one of the top producing agents in her office the last 2 years. And every time we send out an email, whether it's just like a happy holidays or sharing information about one of her blog postings, she averages 2 to 3 emails back every single time. And I mean, these are emails that are saying things like, hey, this was really great information. I just shared it with this person who I thought might be beneficial. Or, hey, thanks for reaching out. We're going to be out by the lake in a couple of months, and we're going to be ready to start looking for our lake home, because that's what she specializes in. So just keeping, in contact with people regularly with information that they find valuable can really help shift your business. So what are some promotional content, or how you can kind of sell your sell your business is listings. So make sure, if you're not using a professional photographer to do your listings, make sure you bring in a professional photographer to do those listing photos, because it can make all the difference in how quickly a house sells and how many people are coming in to tour it. Make sure you're posting information about your open houses, and don't just share the information about the open house. Do something a little bit different. I have agents that, when they do open houses, they will go live at the open house and really showcase what makes this house special. I have another team of agents that I used to work with years ago, and back when I was actually at Coldwell Banker, and they would actually do different themes at their open houses, and people would ask them to do the open houses of their listings just because their themes were so big and drawn out that people would show up just to see how it all came together with the refreshments or their giveaways. So, kind of do something a little bit different with your open houses. And then, like I said earlier, testimonials. If you're not getting testimonials, start doing that now. And it's always best to hit them right there at the closing table. Have an email ready to go that you can just send over with links to whether it's your website, Zillow, your Google account, wherever it is that you're collecting your testimonials. So here's the thing. When you really sit down and build out a great content marketing plan, it accomplishes 3 things. And those 3 things are the know, like, and trust factor. And the more people know, like, and trust you, the more you're going to get repeat clients. So as I said, a lot of agents come to me and they're like, how do I start reusing content? There's not a lot of time in the day. So here's a breakdown of how you can take one piece of content and reuse it multiple ways. And that is to record a video. And if you're not doing videos yet, take a little bit of time to get comfortable with it. And because people want to know what you look like, what you sound like. So sit down and record a video, maybe even just 5 minutes long. And then when you're done, you can transcribe it and it can double as a blog. From there, you can send out that weekly email to your sphere and have it sent over to either the blog on your website, or if you are running a YouTube channel, you can send them to the video. Someone that I actually follow, a business coach, what she does is she has her videos on YouTube, but she embeds them onto her website and then has the text below it. So people can either watch the video or they can read the text. From there, you pull out those few key points and create a social media posting and pair it with a great image. But so then you can actually pull out several social media postings from there. You can actually probably create almost an entire week of content from a blog. And then you can also use it to build your email list. So let's say you put out a blog post of the 10 free events that are coming up in your area the next month. What you could do is run a Facebook ad saying, hey, I put together this list. Do you want a copy of it? And, you get their name and email and they get redirected to that list of all the free events. So that's a way you can actually build your email list as well. But if you're still having a little bit of trouble coming up with that much content, you're not sure how to get started, you feel like you're not a good writer, then this is what I invite you to do. I invite you to sit down and have a free strategy session with me. And you can do that by going to marketing-strategy-session.as.me. I'm also putting it here in the chat box. So if you just want to click straight through. On this strategy session, what we're going to do is I'm going to sit down. I'm going to help talk you through your real estate. I'm going to talk you through your email marketing, kind of what you currently have been doing, see what campaigns you have going. And I'm going to take a look at your website for you. When we sit down on that call, I'm going to give you a step-by-step plan of what you need to do, what things you need to change to get started. And then you have 2 choices. You can take that plan and implement it yourself. But if you still need some help, then we can talk about what it would cost to hire me. But regardless, after we get off that strategy session, you're going to have a plan ready to start implementing. It's just up to you whether you want the help or if you want to do it yourself. But those strategy sessions are about 20 to 30 minutes, so not very long, about the same length as this training. And so I would love to meet with all of you and spend a little bit of one-on-one time so you can ask a few more questions. You can also connect with me through email, which is amanda@gravityrealestatemarketing.com. You can check out my website at gravityrealestatemarketing.com, or come follow me on Facebook and Instagram, both at Gravity Real Estate Marketing as well. So that's today's training. I hope you all were able to get, some valuable information out of here. That's my goal, is to, offer as much value to each of you as possible. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them into the chat box or reach out to me when you, if you have some questions come up later. I'll be more than happy to answer them. But I want to thank you all so much for spending this little bit of time with me, and hopefully you were able to take something away from it. Have a great Valentine's Day. I hope y'all have something special planned tonight, whether it's with your family or with friends, and have a great weekend. So I'm going to wait just a couple of minutes, see if anybody drops anything in the chat box. If not, thanks again, and y'all have a great weekend. Bye.